Live, local, breaking news. This is WYFF News 4 at 6 in high definition.
Oh, it's hot. The National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory for Myrtle Beach. We're going to take a live look right there at Bar Harbor. That's from Resort Cams. The advisory stays in effect until early evening.
To Tennessee, a small tornado hit Claiborne County, about 50 miles north of Knoxville. At least 10 homes destroyed there.
Quite a line of storms in Asheville. Crews spent the day getting the power back on after a night of terrible weather.
So let's begin with WYFF News 4 Chief Meteorologist John Cesarich. John, it was quite a night.
It certainly was, Carol and Michael. Take a look at the radar. I put everything into motion from overnight last night. Look at all these lightning strikes coming out of Kentucky and Tennessee. Incredible line. Almost continuous lightning from cloud to ground. Had 2,000 to 3,000 hits of lightning. That's just within an hour's time period. And so the severe weather, we had the scattered severe weather, wind damage, and hail in through parts of western North Carolina mountains. We had the rotation and the tornadoes back in East Tennessee. Luckily, even though most of North Carolina was under a tornado watch last night, yesterday evening, none of these thunderstorms rotated enough to spawn a tornado, so that was really good news. But we did have scattered power outages because of the wind damage and also some large hail in through the North Carolina mountains. No severe weather in the upstate or back into northeastern Georgia. As you can see, the line just kind of fell apart, and we had early this morning just basically rain showers in through the upstate. So that same front that produced our severe weather in North Carolina now is continuing to make its way toward the coastline. And so besides the heat advisory going on along the Grand Strand of Myrtle Beach right now, they're also dealing with a potential for severe weather. But look what's on the way for us for most of this week. And now back to you, Michael.
All right, John, thanks. We'll see you later. Some breaking news for you. The state attorney general tonight says, quoting here, the state of North Carolina will not oppose the same-sex marriage cases moving forward, close quote. Today in Virginia came a federal ruling that says provisions barring gay marriage and denying recognitions of such unions performed in other states all violate the U.S. Constitution. No word yet from South Carolina's Attorney General, which is and of course this state is in the same federal circuit as North Carolina and Virginia.
A gambling ring, an FBI informant, and alleged corruption at the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. Tonight, we're learning more about the suspected ringleader. WYFF News 4's Angela Rodriguez is here with the latest. Angela, he has a lengthy criminal background.
Carol, Isaac Khalil is certainly no stranger to deputies. His gambling arrests started back in the 80s. Khalil's most recent run-in with the law was back in November. That's when he was arrested for running an illegal enterprise that consisted of poker machines, betting, and bookmaking. He has pleaded guilty to those charges. We ran a criminal background check on him today and uncovered that he has 10 gambling-related arrests and several pardons to go along with them. In cooperating with authorities, he provided detailed information about alleged corruption within the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. This is all outlined in court documents. Khalil says he was told by deputies to move his operation, quote, off the beaten path. He says in turn, he provided charitable donations. Now, the sheriff's office has not responded to our repeated requests for an interview about this. Khalil, meanwhile, will be sentenced in federal court tomorrow. He faces up to 3 years in prison.
Angela, thank you. Certain parts of the country are seeing a run these days on Russian-made guns and ammo. It's all fallout from last week's ban on imports because of the events recently in Ukraine. WYFF News 4 Stephanie Trotter now with what's in stock at some of the biggest gun shops in Greenville County.
They write the model information in Cyrillic because it is made in Russia.
Jason Mealy holds a Sega shotgun from his last shipment. Its asking price is rising, but he didn't order more because there's just not much demand.
There's not going to be a run on them per se because it's something people aren't snatching off the shelf under any circumstance. It's a niche firearm.
Studies show half of all South Carolinians own a weapon, but none of the biggest gun stores in Greenville County are noticing a run on Russian-made goods since last week's ban. News 4 found Segas, Mosin Nagants, and a lot of AK-47s. But that's where you need to look at the bottom line, or rather, the manufacturer's label.
Collectors have had a much easier time getting their hands on an AK-47 since the end of the Cold War. Companies in a number of countries now make them. In fact, this one is made in the United States.
So this is a Mosin Nagant. It's just an old World War II Soviet-era bolt-action rifle.
Andrew Allen says Russian surplus guns like this are still easy to find, as well as leftover USSR bullets that are so abundant in the U.S., they spill out of warehouses and usually cost less than half of the domestic modern-day equivalent. Although Allen Arms has not seen increased demand, owners are used to current events bending business.
Anything can change it. depending on, foreign affairs, like I said, national affairs, all the way down to local things. It can change it.
Creating a moving target for owners and enthusiasts. Stephanie Trotter, WIFF News 4, Greenville County.
A would-be chicken thief got caught in the act on an upstate farm but managed to fly the coop. WIFF News 4's Mike McCormick with how the crime could lead to 2 different charges.
In this Cherokee County field belonging to Thickety Mountain Farms, 2 dogs protect the chickens from animal predators. But over the weekend, there was an intruder that they couldn't scare away.
I mean, he seemed pretty surprised.
Brent Ballou says he and his wife were driving by and saw a man on a moped who used a speaker cord to turn a T-shirt into a bag. He says that makeshift bag was stuffed with feed and 5 chickens.
But I've never seen that. Never seen it done that way.
Ballou tells us the man dropped the bag and tried to drive away. One of the chickens was dead. Ballou got the others back.
These birds earn me money every day that they lay an egg.
He says the thief also let the dogs out, but they didn't go far.
He kind of ran around in here like a fish in a fishbowl trying to get out.
Ballou says he ran after the man who managed to maneuver his moped in a way that got him off the property. Ballou's wife followed him in their car, starting a slow-speed chase.
Just kind of looked back a few times at her.
He says the man went through some yards and the woods and got away. Now Ballou is looking for ways to protect his livelihood.
It was really kind of funny to watch him, but, I was pretty mad about it.
The Cherokee County Sheriff calls this a rare crime, and he says if caught, that person could face 2 different charges, one for trying to steal the chickens and one because one of the chickens died. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 1-888-CRIME-SC. You could get a reward. Mike McCormick, WIFF News 4 in Cherokee County.
Up north now to Cooperstown, New York, where it was a big weekend at the Baseball Hall of Fame. And WIFF News 4's Mark Dofer was right there. He caught up with the man who pays tribute to a familiar name and face from the upstate. The story is a capper to a weekend full of covering fame.
Greenville's Shoeless Joe Jackson hasn't been allowed into the Hall of Fame, but that doesn't mean a small part of him isn't right here in Cooperstown. This is Shoeless Joe's.
Again, my name is Joe, and I've been called Shoeless Joe ever since I was a little kid. Similar to Shoeless Joe, he only did it in the game, a couple innings. I used to always run around without my shoes on, so I got the nickname Shoeless Joe. It's a shame that Shoeless Joe and Pete Rose both connected to gambling and not in the Hall of Fame. Shoeless Joe said he never had anything to do with it at all. Over here, this is a hat that Shoeless Joe wore in 1917. This is the home hat. We go back to, with our hats, 1869, the first year of baseball, the Reds. I showed you the Shoeless Joe hat. We also have the 1918 hat, current hats. We have a hat from Kaminsky Park, the 33 All-Star games. Cooperstown's a great place. You should come visit. I've been to Greenville. You have a beautiful Main Street, so do we.
Shoeless Joe's, owned by Shoeless Joe, literally 1 block from the Hall of Fame. And certainly there's some folks in Greenville that hope the real Shoeless Joe will soon be closer than that. Reporting from Cooperstown, Mark Dofer, WIFF News 4.